All these lies and delusions wake me up, show me a new dawn. Open your eyes, rise, children of light. I am awakened, I am awakened. All these lies and delusions wake me up, show me a new dawn. Open your eyes, rise, children of light. I am awakened, I am awakened. All these lies and delusions wake me up, show me a new dawn. Open your eyes, rise, children of light. I am awakened, I am awakened. Clear my mind and my soul. Gave me a new man. Oh, made me whole. I rise up. I'll be a new light. I am awakened. I am awakened.
Yes,
I am awakened. All these lies and delusions wake me up, show me a new dawn. Open your eyes, rise, children of light. I am awakened, I am awakened. Israelite's journey.
Hey, shalom, shalom. Brother Elisha here. Wanted to talk to the people. I know we haven't been on in a while. Keep praying for the brothers. I want to say Shabbat. I ain't gonna say Shabbat Shalom, but just shalom to all the family out there. Octavia Phillips, Sister CC. Peace and blessings. Right now, it's just going to be me right now, going into a subject more like a discussion, on the subject of marriage, love, procreation, things I was meditating on these subjects that I know we don't talk about a lot. I know we, in our dispersion or inside our captivity, we haven't really went in depth on these subjects. And I just wanted to raise a discussion, not to cast any stumbling blocks before anybody, but just to have a discussion on some of the things that were anciently and what we do now as far as how we get together. Some of the things that our fathers would be alien to. Now, we do have some other projects that we're doing. I don't know if you've seen the screensaver regarding the fake alien invasion that they're propagating, maybe even the fake coming of Christ or Mashiach to deceive the elect, to deceive the Most High's people. Let me show that screensaver just to show, and now we'll be getting into that. I'm hoping next week if the brothers are able. If not next week, look, we'll put it in there. We'll see if we'll have it. We'll let you guys know. But it's very important to watch out, because now you have things going on the news talking about all these drones and orbs and things like that. And a lot of these things are prepping, even those movies out there prepping you to be afraid from what's coming from the heavens. Now, we know only one thing is coming from the heavens. We know there ain't no rogue rocks flying around. We know there's no alien race out there. We know all these things. And we can't be deceived by the fact that they're going to propagate and even try to cause us to go through some delusions. You know, the technology is there, AI, all those things like that, holographic imagery. And the thing is that they can put some things that look real compelling, some things that look real authentic. But we got to cleave to what the Most High said. We cleave to the Most High said. We stick to His word. We won't be deceived on the things that they're propagating on the earth. Things that they want to use to deceive us. So with that being said, just want to show if I can find it. What did I do with it? In fact, we could just share. Let me share my screen. Let's see. All right. Y'all can see that. Let me get a 1. Matter of fact, been a while since I navigated by myself. All right, let's see. Let me put it up first. So I pray everybody has been blessed. I pray everybody had a blessed Shabbat, that your unions are being fruitful, that you've been paying attention to the news and all the things that's going on with that. I know a lot of things. You got these plane crashes. That's no coincidence with that. Wondering what, the news is going to come out with that caused these things, which is odd because you had 2 plane crashes in a row, supposedly, allegedly you had 2 plane crashes, or I don't know if y'all can see that, but what is the news behind that? What are they going to say caused these things? And it's like, yeah, we know from experience that you can't believe anything that the heathen says. So this is what we'll be doing soon. Great signs and lying wonders. Everything that is in the sky is not always in the sky. So part of the Bible says they were in great fear when no fear was. A lot of times they're going to try to put the world in fear. They're going to try to use technological advances to deceive the people, to control the people, to get people to denounce or to ignore what the Most High has said. So this is a project that we'll be doing hopefully next week or the week after that. We just have to you'll see the date on it. But back to the present topic. Now, what is the rules between man or Israelite men and women? How are we supposed to come together? Are we coming together righteously now? And I want to go into some authorities on these subjects. Like what is the basis for what we should do? A lot of times we go into the historians like Josephus and Philo. We go into those authorities because those things will help us get an understanding of what our people used to do. How did they perceive things? How did they conduct themselves? So one of the main things I wanted to talk about was that the purpose of sex, the purpose of the union of marriage, the purpose of it was for the procreation of children. Even though pleasure comes with that, the main purpose is for the procreation of children. And that we did not put so much emphasis on the pleasure part of it as we do today. Mainly people get together for those reasons. They get together because the physical connection is pleasurable. And some relationships either make it or don't make it based on how that physical connection is. A lot of times when men are looking for women, you can say vice versa. Your sexual accrement is used to, say, allure the person that you're trying to get with. But we're not exercising what the true purpose is. Now, in the Bible, I think in 2 Timothy, it talks about what becomes sound doctrine. Let me share my screen. Share my entire window. And we'll look at that. If y'all can see my screen, let me get a 1. I will want to get it a little bigger than this, but we see here it says, but speak thou the things which become sound doctrine. Sound doctrine. Some things are not explicitly said in the Bible regarding certain things. Like it's not said, it's said in a way that you should understand it, but it's always not said in plain language or said specifically regarding certain things. And that's what we're going to get into today. So I want us to look at uh, the book of Josephus and the book of Philo, if I can pull them up. And I want to just talk about how they articulate what they did for sex or what they did in the means of procreation. All right, so I'm going to start here. Matter of fact, hopefully, let me exit out of that. I might be able to see it better. All right. So we have here, well, this is in the book of Josephus, I believe on Pylon. I'll put the exact citation just in case y'all wanted to read along. Matter of fact, I have it written in. But we want to talk about what was the purpose of marriage and what we do now. Now, there's a part in the book of Jeremiah that talks about why dost thou seekest to find love? Therefore, thou hast taught the nations thy ways. And that's normally how they get us now, through social media. Everybody's looking for somebody to hook up with. Everybody's looking for somebody to get with, and nobody's doing it for the right reasons. You got the whole situation with the abortion ban, and a lot of women, or at least the heathen women, or the nations, or that philosophy and the way they operate, are talking about they have a right to choose. And you have to ask the question, hey, listen, if you took a woman who was pregnant, say in her 8th, 7th, or 6th month, 9th month, and according to the law, what was the law? You can get an abortion. Now, that same woman who would get an abortion with that child being at that time and term, if that child was born, that person would cry that there's a crime being committed if that baby was just killed. That baby was killed at the same stage that it's at while it's in the belly, but was outside of the belly. The same women, the same people, the same government that would say that it's lawful to take the life of that baby would then turn around and say that it was a heinous crime being committed, even though it's in the same state, just in a different location. So we're going to read. But then, what are our laws about marriage? The law owns no other mixture of sexes, but that which nature have appointed, of a man with his wife, and that this be used only for the procreation of children. And why is it saying only for the procreation of children? It's like when a person gets something to eat. When you get something to eat, the purpose is to eat to preserve the body, to stay nourished. That taste of how good the food is actually just a benefit of the fact that you're eating. The Most High made these things good to the taste. Oranges, bananas, all these fruits, he made them good to the taste. So that part is the pleasure part of it. But specifically, food being good and not being good is not the purpose of food. The purpose of food is to live. The purpose of water is to stay hydrated. But the taste of a thing is a benefit that the Most High has blessed us with. But the purpose is specifically that. If a person was to say that I eat for pleasure, then that person will be called a glutton. It would be gluttony to eat if you're not eating to sustain life. And it's the same thing with sex. Sex is there to procreate children. Now, in ancient times, our women would be, say, of marriageable age. If you look at the time of marriageable age, when a woman first gets her period or her flower. And at that time, that female from that point was able to be married and then get to the point of menopause where she couldn't have children anymore. And all that time between then, you would be able to procreate with your spouse or that woman in the product of having children. Now, of course, the pleasure comes with it, but that's not the purpose. And that's where a lot of our people have fallen today. A lot of our people has gotten to. They will specifically have marital connections just for the pleasure and the pleasure only. Now, is this a good thing in the eyes of the Most High? If a person would just say, you know what, I'm going to eliminate the purpose, but I'm just going to deal with the pleasure of the thing. So two people coming together, the pleasure is just a mercy or a benefit of a means of connection that the Most High is given in the act of something that's supposed to produce something for him. Matter of fact, let's go to Let me go to. In fact, let me check the chat. I have because I'm not looking at. I can't look at it both at one time. So I hope I don't get no disagreements with this. You're not saying anything, sister? Goodness gracious. All right. Right. And I think that this hinders our relationships now. And this hinders our relationship with the sisters and the sisters with the brothers. Is because the purpose of the thing is not being done anymore. We're not doing those things. We've totally went off. We went in the way of the heathen. We're not operating the same way we would have operated in the past. We're not operating in a way which would be fruitful to the family. Let me see if I can get this to come up again. Tell me if y'all see the book of Josephus when I put this up. Tell me if y'all see the book of Josephus, because that was the purpose. Wish I had my brothers here. Can y'all see the book of Josephus? Let me get a one if you can see the book of Josephus. Anybody? Not really? All right, let's try this again. So we just read from Josephus, and let me try to bring it up again. If I can get it to come up. That's part of not doing these lives as much as we normally do them. Let's see. That's not it. Sharing my screen. I'm trying to make sure y'all can see what I'm seeing. Entire screen window. Okay. Y'all should see it now. And we just read, it says, but then what are our laws about marriage? That the law enjoins no other mixture of sexes but that which nature have appointed, of a man with his wife, and that it be used for the procreation of children. And if you think about it, if you go back to when Sarah was told by the angel that she would have a seed, that she would have a baby. And we're going to go to that real quick just to see exactly what her response is. It says, give me 1 second. She said, I'm old, shall I have pleasure again? And what does she mean by that pleasure? Let's see. So we're going to go to Genesis, the 18th chapter. And we're going to check out exactly what how Sarah responded to that. So let me change that. 1 second. Let's see. And then I want to go to a video dealing with the same subject, and we were talking about menopause. So let's see. Here we go. So we're going to read this. It says Genesis chapter 18. We're going to start at verse 10. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah, thy wife, shall have a son. And Sarah heard him in the tent of the door, which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. Now, what does it mean by cease with Sarah? That means Sarah had gone through the time of menopause. You have a period in time where a woman actually can have, and I'm pretty sure we understand this, but you can have a whole 30 or 40 years where a woman is barren. But she's bearing for that time because she is yet to produce children. But if she produces children, say at 50 or 60, which we have a case like that, I'll show the video, then she's barren after she's gone through her time of being barren. But Sarah had gone past. She's at menopause now. So now she knows she can no longer have children. Her fountain would have to be given back to her. But at this point in time, she said, listen, I can't have children anymore. So what did she say? She said, therefore, Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also. So having pleasure, at some point, Sarah and Abraham stopped procreating. They stopped the process of the pleasure that came with coming together because Sarah could no longer, there was no potential that Sarah could have children. They didn't just have relations and there was no purpose for it. You think about in the Bible, it talks about how Noah became a husbandman or husbandry on the earth. Husbandry is two things. You can be a husbandman by planting seeds in the ground and reaping the harvest, or which we would call becoming a farmer. And then you have husbandry when in case of raising cattle, raising of flocks, breeding animals. So when Noah became a husbandman, it was referring to him planting seed to reap a harvest. And that's in as a duty of a man's seed is to produce a harvest. Now, him coming together with his wife, if it comes, then it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But we're not supposed to put a prohibition on it. We're not supposed to prevent it by doing things like Judah's son did with his daughter-in-law, by trying to avoid having children. Now, mind you, this is a counsel. This is something I'm saying that we can meditate on and just look at how our people looked at it in ancient times, how they approached it. Not to sit there and try to put a hedge over anybody's household to tell them what to do, but to say, okay, this is what was done, and we know that the Most High changed not, and not to say that everybody would agree with a certain perspective, because I know that when it comes to physical relations, that's a dominant thing between our people. That's particularly if you're married. So let me go back to the book of Josephus. Go back to the book of Josephus real quick, just to continue reading what was said there. And I think it's very important. We're going to go to the book of Philo as well. Matter of fact, I want to show y'all. I'm going to go back to the book of Josephus. Let's see. And we continue what it says. It says, the law enjoins no mixture of sexes, so we know it's a prohibition against homosexuality, no matter what the church says. But that which nature have appointed of a man with his wife, make sure y'all see where I'm at, and that it be used only for the procreation of children, but it abhorred the mixture of male with male. And if anyone do that, death is his punishment. It commands us also, when we marry, not to regard to portion, nor to take a woman by violence, nor to persuade her deceitfully or lavishly, but to demand her in marriage of him who have power to dispose of her, normally her father, and is fit to give her away by the nearness of his kindred. Or the right of the kismet, says the scripture. A woman is inferior to her husband in all things. Let her therefore be obedient to him, not so that he should abuse her, but that she may acknowledge her duty to her husband. But God have given the authority to the husband. A husband therefore is to lie only with his wife, whom he have married. And believe it or not, in ancient times, which is supposed to be the same way today, but seldom it is, because we're in the nations and we're used to fornicating before marriage, or what would constitute marriage. We don't go by those things, or we have not learned them. And now a lot of us being repentant, according to Ezekiel, the 18th chapter, according to repentance, we come to do or try to do the right things now. But in past times, both the man and the woman would be virgins. He hadn't had a bunch of women before they got together. She hadn't had a bunch of men. She hadn't had kids with other women. Normally the first time with his wife would be his first time as well as hers. And if time proceeded and he took another wife, had other children, these things will all be done for his kindred or for his posterity. They wasn't done for pleasure, even though pleasure is a part of the connection between the husband and the wife. The Most High has blessed us that it should be pleasurable. The same way when we eat, the food is not bland. The Most High said the salt of the covenant shall not cease. So the Most High said everything has to be, let everything be seasoned with salt. So we know that according to the New Testament, that'd be our words, but also that the food that we had to have salt, had to have flavor. So when the Most High gave us fruits of the ground, he made them flavorful. He made them tasty. Everything has a taste that'll make you want it. No different than sex in a lot of ways, or no different than the procreation between a man and a woman. It has a good, pleasurable feel to it. But do we deny what its purpose is? So let's continue. It says, a husband therefore is to lie with his wife, whom he have married, but to have to do with another man's wife is a wicked thing. No adultery, which is anyone ventures upon, death is inevitably the punishment. Now I'm saying this as in my understanding of the scriptures that a man, the only person who truly has the proof of marriage is the one who has the tokens of virginity. This one has the proof of marriage. You go into the scriptures, is a reason why the Most High, what you would call the hymen, would be broken and it would leave what you would call blood on the sheet in the marriage chamber. And this actually is the token of husbandry. This would be the one who has the proof. Now, I know we've fallen real far from that. And even if one was to say they remember the one who took their virginity in a sense, he still wouldn't have the tokens of virginity as far as the proof that will be done scripturally. But let's continue. But to have one another man's wife is a wicked thing, which if anyone ventures upon death is never leave the punishment. No more can he avoid the same who forces a virgin betrothed to another man or entices another man's wife. The law, moreover, enjoins us to bring up all our offspring. Now, when we think about our offspring, we say, okay, maybe this is just when we have them. But this is also including talking about when a man and a woman come together, that you are not supposed to try to not have children. You cannot deny. This is the purpose. You're not supposed to deny yourself having children. Now, if children don't come, they don't come. And you get to enjoy each other free of children as long as that situation is the case. But you cannot try to stop having children. You can't do things that the nations do as a contraceptive. At least this is how our people would perceive it. And even what you would call romantic nights or date nights and all these things that we've become accustomed to in our captivity that have taken away what the purpose was of husband and wife coming together. You know, when you go against these purposes, now you have other things that come between the husband and the wife. If you look down in Houston and Atlanta, they have a pandemic of HIV and sexually transmitted diseases. I believe in Atlanta alone, 10% of the sexually transmitted disease cases are not even classified yet. They're not even identified. Literally, somebody can go in and they can say, you know what, we're going to call this James disease or Baticoquana's disease. They literally can name it because it's not even specified or even have a classification yet. And these things are because we have gone out of the spiritual realm of wedlock, that we don't honor it. We have no respect for it. And this is the thing that was supposed to unionize the man and the woman. It says, and if any woman appear to have done so, she will be a murderer of a child by destroying a living creature and diminishing humankind. And if anyone therefore proceed to such fornication or murder, he cannot be clean. We know in the law there are things that you can bring a sacrifice for, but there are things that is automatic death. Now, obviously, the Most High has blessed us with repentance in his son, Yeshua HaMashiach, some call Jesus. And we can repent from a lot of manner of things that we couldn't repent for in the past. And all praise the Most High that he was merciful to us. But what is the truth of the matter? It says, moreover, the law enjoins that a man, that after the man and the wife have lain together in a regular way, they shall bathe themselves. For there is a defilement contracted thereby, both in soul and body. And if they had gone into another country, for indeed the soul by being united to the body is subject to miseries and is not freed therefrom again, but by death. On which account the law requires the purification to be entirely performed, which is to wash, which the scripture gives, I believe, in Leviticus the 11th chapter. I believe it's Leviticus 11, might be Leviticus 11 to 14. So these things are done physically to purify the body once a proper union has come together. Let's look at what Philo has said on the same subject. We're going to go into the book of Philo. And the reason, like I said, we're going into Philo and Josephus on these subjects is because our people that lived these years ago, back during the time that we actually still had a temple erected, our people went by a certain standard. They had a different version of the law, a different version of the scriptures, and they understood things differently than us. They were written. They had a standard that we don't hold today, being in captivity. So just look at how fire. And the matter of fact, it's so voluminous how many things are said about this subject. And I would implore anybody to go read Josephus, read Philo, even word search certain things within those books to see how our people conducted a thing. And then us being repentant people, or people who have repented and now are not scratched out or uh, taken out of the book of life, can now go forth and do things the right way. And believe it or not, like, we've made so many mistakes in our lives. A person can say, I know what God wants. The Most High has a woman for me. Most High has a man for me. At some point, you've done those things. This life is not about whether a person can have a woman or a man given to them constantly, especially for people who have had those things and have children. At some point, it's about knowing what was right in the eyes of the Most High and doing those things, even if you have to deny yourself, because that's not your purpose. Your purpose is to serve the Most High. Your purpose is to do the things that are right and equitable and just in His eyes. These things are always not self. These things are not always self-pleasing. Seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High and His rights, and the rest will be added on to you. So even then, the Most High may give to some a husband and a wife, even after all the pollution, after all the defilement. So we're going to look at the book of. Let's see. We're going to look at the book of Philo, and I want to just check something out here. Hopefully, y'all can see it. If y'all can see the book of Philo, give me a 1. I just want to check out a few key parts in this book, and we're going to start here. Matter of fact, let me make sure y'all can see it. Let me see. Okay. So in the book of Philo, we read, we, the descendants of the Hebrews, are guided by special customs and laws of our own. In other nations, the youths are permitted after they are 14 years of age, which may be the marriageable age or the time that the woman can actually produce children, to use concubines and prostitutes and women to make gain by their persons without restraint. Now, let's just take a picture of how we do today. If you go online and just look at gold digger pranks, or most women, even though they're not calling it prostitution, are largely committed or willing to be with a man due to his financial abilities. Chiefly, this is highlighted amongst our people, at least it's portrayed that way, that a lot of our women are lured by cars and money and extravagant, living, which a woman being in the position of being taken care of in historical sense, she should want to be with a provider, but this is not what should be her driving force. If you're with a person for money and that's the only reason you're there, or that's why that person's getting with that person, it is a form of fornication or prostitution, because without the money, the person wouldn't be there. And you have a lot of people, they see a nice card and they want to talk to the very man they didn't want to talk to. But among us, a harlot is not allowed even to live, but death is appointed as a punishment for anyone who adopts such a way of life. Therefore, before our lawful marriage, we know nothing, any connection with any other woman, but without ever having experienced any similar cohabitation, we approach our virgin brides as pure as themselves. So both parties were virgins at this point, the man and the woman. They're coming together in matrimony, proposing, at least in the situation where that person has yet to marry another wife or a previous wife, proposing as the end of our marriage, not pleasure, but the offspring of legitimate children. It also goes on to say adultery, which is the greatest of all sins, which in the situation, like I said, in the situation that we live today, a lot of us have just been with so many people. And with wisdom, we have to know that in turning to the Most High, these things have to change. But that the pleasure that came with marriage was for the offspring of legitimate children. Those children that you're having with your wife, and the sex that came, or the procreation that came with it, had to have the purpose of having a child, for the purpose of a child coming forth. And if the child didn't come, it just didn't come. But it was never for us to just, for the purposes like, okay, let me have sex. Let me go get a condom. Let's just have sex. Let's have that pleasure. That was never, that would be illicit intercourse. And there are many things in the scriptures that talk about those type of pleasures, just going at the purpose of coming together just for pleasure only, which is not pleasing to the Most High, fulfilling the lust of the flesh. So how long does this go on? You know, in scriptural terms, if you think about it, then, you know, I know we don't talk on this subject, but that the Most High actually gave a time frame. You know, there's a time where the Most High literally shuts down our women. He shuts them down from being able to produce children, even for wanting to come together in a lot of ways. So I want to show this video. I know a lot of sisters understand these things, but I want to show this video on that actually a former video vixen had done, and just to see what she says about menopause and perimenopause. Matter of fact, we're going to show that real quick. We're just going to look at those definitions real quick about perimenopause and menopause. All right. So we take a short look at it. And so then we got perimenopause is the transition period between a woman's reproductive years and menopause. The time when she no longer has menstrual periods is typically lasts for several years. So what are some of the symptoms? Irregular periods, longer or shorter intervals, heavier or lighter flow, hot flashes, night sweats, vaginal dryness, mood changes, anxiety, irritability, sleep disturbances, joint pain, brain fog. And it's just like some of the small details of that. I want to just show what this sister has to say about perimenopause and menopause. So let me share my screen real quick. Let's see. All right. Matter of fact, let me play the fair use first, so we don't get shut down. So let me see. Fair use.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. And this is a copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
All right, so we're going to play the video. Let me know if it can be heard. Let's see.
Okay, well, let's talk about sex. Let's talk about my sex life. Did you know that as you get deeper into perimenopause, your vagina starts to atrophy? So when I got told that, I was like, wait, hold on one second here. What? So think about it like this. Every woman who's watching knows what cramps feels like, preceding your period coming. The cramps, depending on what, if you have endometriosis or fibroids or whatever the case is, cramps can be mildly uncomfortable. Have they ever been just mildly uncomfortable for anybody? Right. They just say that in commercials. It's bullshit. Oftentimes it's horrible. So cramps are usually, PMS preceding a period, and then we get our period. Some of us are not cramping during that time. Some of us are. So that cramping is basically like, it's your uterus, it's your cervix, it's all this terrible it's an orchestra, kind of doing what it does. But then as you head into perimenopause and your period starts to disappear, your uterus and cervix and just that orchestra just kind of tapers off and it's not really doing much. It's not contracting. It's not doing anything. You know what I mean? And so your pelvic floor kind of just goes to sleep unless you start doing exercises like Kegels or, exercises that you might learn in a yoga or Pilates class. your pelvic floor goes to sleep. And you're not really aware of what that actually means until you sneeze or you laugh and you pee all over yourself. That's what a weak pelvic floor actually means. So, what else happens when you enter perimenopause and your uterus and your cervix have stopped doing that whole contracting thing that they do once a month? Basically, what happens is sex can become really uncomfortable, like really uncomfortable. Oh, also, you start to experience dryness. Whoever said that God was a woman, no, there's no way. There's no way that a woman would be doing this to us. She'd be giving it to them, okay? But the reality of the situation is these are some of the things that happen as perimenopause.
So I want to pause it real quick just to discuss some of the things that she said regarding, and I know the women know this, that once a woman goes to the point where she now is going through menopause or perimenopause, it begins, the area of procreation starts to shut down in a sense. It starts to shut down in a way whereas now it's not as comfortable for procreation, even the pleasure aspect, when a man and a woman comes together. Now, you remember when you was young, you saw your grandmother, your grandfather, anybody elderly, they might have been in their late 50s or 60s, and you said you couldn't imagine that they were having sex. I know in America now today, some of the nursing homes are the biggest hub for sexually transmitted diseases, believe it or not. But that's just an indictment on Babylon. But when you were a kid, you saw your grandmother and grandfather. They did not look like people that had sex anymore. They didn't even sleep in the same room a lot of the times. You didn't hear no shaking of it, but you ain't seen none of these things anymore. Because naturally, over time, they just stopped. Now, they didn't stop because she had gone through menopause and that she can no longer bear children. But they stopped because they got older. They didn't seek that pleasure. They didn't have the longing for, as well as the fact that, the female member, her situation down there was no longer ripe for that type of engagement. It no longer was primed for that type of interaction. So naturally, they just stopped. Now, what age is this? If you look it up, you might see some say 60, 70. There is no specific age when it comes to how long a person is going to want to procreate. So a lot of people are different. And by social norm, and because, we really don't have the standard of old times, people may do it until they're, whenever, until their legs fall off. But why did the Most High have the woman to experience this biological change? In the sense that to shut down that portion of the body. If you go back to David, when David was in the bed regarding, he was about to go to our fathers, the bosom of Abraham, and they brought him a Bishak. They didn't bring him Bathsheba. David was well older in age. I'm sure Bathsheba was older as well, but they brought him a virgin. And if you go into the book of Josephus, I believe it is, it says that he didn't lay with her because he was old. And that is a contributing factor to older men as well. But a man up until his death does produce seed to make children. But in this situation, why didn't they have a wife that he was familiar with lay at his side to keep him warm? Because the potential of children had to be there. Now, mind you, this is me meditating on the scriptures and just talking about what would become sound doctrine, something that to meditate on and say, okay, why are these things being done? When you meditate on the scriptures and say, okay, why? What is the process? What is the reason? Not to give anybody commandment, but to say, okay, the reasons for a thing. Why is this happening the way it's happening? So we'll go to it again. It says, okay, they brought David. And as a matter of fact, we'll look at it real quick. After we finish this video, we'll look at them bringing Bishak to David and say, okay, why didn't they bring Bathsheba or Hagathith? I believe it was another wife he had. But let me just continue the video.
As creeps along. Dryness, vaginal dryness, vaginal atrophy, painful sex, weakened pelvic floor. And that's to go along with everything else that's happening, inside of your brain and in your exterior. Oh, also you get this nice little spare tire like around your midsection that doesn't want to go anywhere. You end up gaining weight that just will not go anywhere. So yeah, it's all freaking awesome. So these are the things that I started to experience. And I was literally like, WTF, why is this happening to me? But the painful sex thing, I was just like, yeah, no, this can't happen. I remember being in my 20s and 30s and having orgasms, feeling like I was talking to God. And I wanted that feeling back. I was like, so that goes away too? Come on. Like, what are we even talking about here? And so I talked to my older girlfriends, and God, I'm about to get so personal. So I talked to my older girlfriends and I asked them, like, what happens? Like, do we just like accept celibacy and abstinence and just not do anything? And they're like, well,
Now, just to check to address some of the things she said, talking about the pain that came with the procreation and the connection between the husband and the man and the woman. Now, obviously, she wasn't married to these men, and which a lot of people amongst our people have abused themselves. Being in Babylon, that we've not been taught, and even when in situations where our grandmothers and grandfathers, our great aunts have told us these things, we have not done them in this country because the unlawful and the unrighteous is more promoted and propagated than doing what is righteous. But when you think about what's being said, because sex is, or the pleasure that comes with it, is preeminent amongst men and women, the union between two people is based on, and most times, more times than not nowadays, that's the only thing that keeps people together, or societally, or among circles, that is what is implied that keeps people together. But there is a time that part of your connection shuts down. There's a time where the promise of covenant, which should have been at the inception of the marriage, should have got the preeminence. But the Most High literally shuts down the body, shuts down the means of having children, shuts down the pleasurable part of that as you go into your older years. And some people say, oh, well, some people want to do it. But it's the thing. It's not about what you want to do. It's about what are you supposed to be doing. It's about what is right in the eyes of the Most High. Why did the Most High shut that situation down? And it's different ages for different people. You got some people that still having babies in their 60s, 50s. The point is that at some point, it's a part in the Bible where it talks about the mean man humbling himself. So it says, therefore forgive him now. I believe it's in the book of Isaiah. Matter of fact, I'm going to grab that up. He humbleth himself, so therefore forgive him not. Because he's going to do and stop doing things when he wants to and how he wants to and for his reasons. The Most High is not dictating to him when he's to stop a thing. I'm going to grab that up real quick. But we're going to finish the video. But I just wanted to show that it's a reason biologically the Most High is shutting these things down. There's a reason why the Most High gave us a process of time. And I know we've fallen from that. We've not lived that way, where you would have the ability to have enjoyed your wife from the time of virginity up into her older years. Had you been able to do that, this subject might be easier to digest. But because a lot of us are getting together in our 40s and our 50s and 35s and things like that, if you're not married or you're looking for a husband, you're looking for a wife. Imagine if you got with a wife and you could not procreate with her. Imagine if she was only there to be truly a helpmeet. Imagine if that was just somebody that you were there in just the covenant. And I know this doesn't sound appealing or alluring, but the covenant is why you're there. The means of helping each other and building with each other is the purpose. The things that come with it, like with food, are mercies of the Most High. So I'm gonna finish this video, and then matter of fact, let's grab that verse while we can. And we can go to Bible Gateway and grab it. I'm going to grab it real quick, and I'm going to continue the video so we can get through the video. I ain't going to hold y'all too long.
Well, basically, Melissa, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. And I was like, what does that even mean, like in practical terms? And they said, well, if you're not having regular sex, buy a dildo. I was like, oh, excuse me? No, wait, I have a vibrator. They were like, no. You need something regularly inserted.
And please forgive me. I know she's getting real graphic and real, heathen. Like, forgive me for allowing this part to even go through. But it was the purpose of the video was for this particular subject. So I'm gonna just finish it out. It's not much left.
To kind of keep everything, what's a term that I should use here, Rachel? Lubricated, intact. I don't know, lubricated, used to volume. I don't know. The guys over here are squirming in their seats, by the way. I should just say that because I could see it out of my mind and out of the corner of my eye. But these are honestly the kind of conversations that I want to have up here. And I want to bring my girlfriends up to talk about this. And I want to bring, women who are also.
Okay, we can shut her down now. That was the gist of the video. And then, yeah, that's right. She's a video vixen. And the reason it is good to use her is because even she had to come to grips with these things. Now, spiritually, she's not going to stop anything. She got to do Kegels or go to Puffy's house and get a vast amount of what he had in his cupboard. She'll do that because she's not moving in a spiritual way. Pray the Most High that she does. But the purpose is that even as Israelites, are we doing these things that the Most High is giving us the sign that is a prohibition on? Let me stop sharing this video. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at this verse in the Bible. And I just want to expound upon it. The book of Isaiah 2:9, it says, "And the mean man boweth down, and the great man humbleth himself. Therefore forgive them not." When a man humbles himself, matter of fact, let's look at this. We also can look at Proverbs 18. I'm gonna check that out. But when a man is humbling himself, that means he's not corrected by someone else. He's humbling himself. He's only doing what he decides to do. He's not doing it by motivation or instruction of the Most High. So what does the Most High say? It said, "Therefore forgive them not." It says the mean man boweth down. He's bowing down to whatever God he wants to bow down to. And the great man humbleth himself. Therefore forgive them not. Forgive them not. He's humbling himself. He's not humbled at the word of the Most High or the motivations that is supposed to be driven amongst men to serve the Most High God, the creator of all things, heaven and earth, by Shem Yeshai, whose name is blessed forever and ever. Let's go to the book of Proverbs real quick. Proverbs, I believe Proverbs chapter 18. I believe it is. Just to see another situation. Please, Proverbs 18. And let's just read these first few verses. I hope to make sure that y'all can see it. Okay. So it reads, "Through desire, a man having separated himself seeketh and intermingleth with all wisdom." And even of study of the scriptures, you're seeking, you're meditating on the reasons for things. Some things in prophecy, some things that are happening situational, like in the situation of David and Abishag, if you're thinking about that. You're meditating on why it's happening. Like some people might bring up, okay, we can't eat pork, but why? So you hear a bunch of reasons why. It's unclean, is this, is that. Most High just gives the instruction about the pig. But the reasons are generated by the prohibition of eating. Men produce reasons on why is this the case? And we come up with them. So it says, "A fool have no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover it so." And that's the key part. It says, "A fool have no delight in understanding." What is understanding in the scriptures? You go into the book of Job, it's understanding is to turn from sin, the distinction, or to be able to understand the difference between right and wrong. You have the knowledge which is good and which is evil, to turn from it or to turn to it. But that his heart may discover itself. That means that he's not willing to receive instruction or commandment or law or statute or judgment. He's going to believe what he wants. This is what you get the case with most atheists. They'll say, okay, well, why did God do this? Why did God do that? They don't believe this. They don't believe that. They humble themselves. Their heart must discover itself. So we have to ask the questions that, okay, well, why is this happening to the woman at menopause? Why is it that she can't have children anymore? Okay, why is it that her situation down there is now not conducive for union? What are we supposed to do next? There's a reason why you have that time frame. You have the time frame from virginity to menopause. And like I said, we're talking about something that becomes sound doctrine, or let's talk about the wisdom of a thing. and not to impose upon any union anything that they don't believe is being connected to them. So let's check this out. We're going to look at the definition of menopause. I know a lot of sisters know these definitions. I'm not the most, I'm not a woman, so y'all understand it better than me, and I'm pretty sure y'all were well instructed on it by the women in the family. So that's perimenopause. We want to go to menopause. So just to bring the point home. All right, here we go. So what will a woman experience? It says menopause is a natural transition in a woman's life when her menstrual period ceases due to declining estrogen levels. Common symptoms of menopause are like Melissa Ford was saying, the video vixen. Not that we're using her as any, image of virtue. Hot flashes, night sweats, vaginal dryness and irritation, irregular or heavier menstrual periods, joint muscle pain, and increased risk of osteoporosis, which is bone loss. These are the symptoms, or these are the things that happens after you can no longer have children. And it's actually very important that you don't take out of your spirit, I don't want any more children. The Bible says the woman is saved in childbearing and childbirth. This is your duty to produce children as long as you can produce them. And once you get to the age where you can't produce them, then you just can't produce them anymore. But while you're in the age where you can produce them, you're not supposed to deny the ability to have children. The man is not supposed to lay with the woman and not at least leave the expectation or the ability or the possibility, rather, to have children. He can't eliminate that. He can't, say, okay, I'm just here for this particular purpose. This is not pleasing. Matter of fact, we're going to go to Psalms 127:3, I believe it is. Psalms 127:3. If you want to go along to it in your Bibles. And this is an important thing. Psalms, I believe, 127. Let's see. Okay. So let me share my screen again. Psalms 127:3. We'll go to the verse. It says, except the Most High build a house, they labor. It says they labor in vain that build it. Except the Most High keep the city. The watchman waketh, but in vain. It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for so he grieveth his beloved sleep. For so he giveth his beloved sleep. Lo, children are an heritage of the Most High, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. So the heritage says children are the heritage of the Most High. Those children are the heritage of the Most High, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. We're not supposed to deny the Most High's reward, specifically for physical pleasures. There's a reason, like we stated before, stated early on, is that a man produces seed within himself, and that seed is to come up as fruit. No different than how the Bible refers to husbandmen or husbandry. Those who are farmers who put seeds in the ground. If a man have a seed, he doesn't then put a seed over top of that seed. He goes and he fertilizes another part of the soil. And that's not to tell a man to go get multiple wives. But once that seed is fertilized, and when it brings forth fruit, it's like the term of having children. You go into the book of Matthew when it says that Joseph knew her not until she had conceived her firstborn child. Even after the seed was produced, in this example, Joseph didn't go back into it. He didn't through the time that she was pregnant. He didn't keep going back in it because the job was already done. He didn't go in there until after she had the Mashiach, or until after. And this was a custom or a thing that our people are they didn't do. They were more moderate. They were more tempered than we are. They wasn't so sex hungry. Not that they didn't have the same desire for it, but they understood that, okay, it's a reason the Most High stops you from doing it for time. That's the whole reason the woman gets the menstrual cycle. She gets a menstrual cycle and it shuts you down. You cannot go in during the menstrual cycle according to the law. It's an abomination. But let's think about that. The Most High purposely in the the biology or the chemical makeup of the woman set a period where you could not go into her or you couldn't deal with her. And that's every month, at least for a week to 10 days. I'm not sure most women's menstrual cycle period. I know it's supposed to be 7 days. At least that amount of time you couldn't deal with her. You couldn't even get those pleasures. And when she had the child, depending on whether it was a man child or a female child, you had that course of time before you can go into her again. And so the old expression is absence make the heart grow fonder. Gave you time to be able to miss your wife or to be able to have a separation. And it made the thing more precious. It made the thing of greater value. Which like I said, we don't do today. So I know on this, like I said, I wanted this subject to be more of a discussion more than saying, okay, do this or don't do that. You have people that are married, they're in unions, and they, they do what they believe is lawful. But I do believe that there's a reason that we were given certain things and we did them in a certain process. So with that being said, it's your brother Elisha. I don't know if anybody want to come up and say anything to the subject before I let you go. I hope we can meditate on these things and go back to where it was, or at least do the things that are pleasing to the Most High in these situations. So peace and blessings. All praise the Most High, and thank you for the brothers and sisters who have donated to the channel. We definitely appreciate it. Please pray for the brothers. Brothers is different places and have heavinesses, the same heavinesses or things in their life that go on, and just pray for us here. And hopefully we'll be able to next week bring in about the those strong delusions and the fake alien invasion that they're propagating on Earth. There's so much stuff going on that can change the landscape of what's happening in this country. You got the whole situation with the DEI, diversity, exclusion, and I don't know what the other one meant, where they're using that as a sense to wage war on the borders. You got these tariffs Trump is doing, where Canada and China have come out hard against that, and talking about that could cause a problem in products coming into the country, the cost of things. People are already upset about the economy. And these are all things that I know we got to talk about, we got to go into. And these things could change the makeup, the landscape of what's happening in this country, So don't be deceived when you see these lights in the sky and things like that. Know that the Most High is in order. There's a lot of videos out there where you see angels, they're showing angels and different things like that. The Most High don't do things to be caught so it can be caught just for you to see on TikTok. There's no angel just flying around saying, okay, let me get caught on camera to see if I can get views and see if I can get subscribers. If you see something, the Most High does it has a purpose. And a lot of these things that they're showing on TikTok are a way to test the people. The Most High doesn't do things without a purpose. So if you're saying something, it's a reason that is there. And everything that you're saying, don't be dismayed by the signs in heaven. Don't be dismayed at the things that they're showing to try to convince you, okay, there's an alien invasion. We know that there's no planetary system up there where, foreign humanoids are coming to interact with people. So anything that they're showing is to prep and prime you to be afraid of what's really coming. And that's what we're going to talk about soon, Most High willing. So peace and blessings to everybody, and may the Most High bless. I pray that y'all were able to take something from the discussion we had today. And like I said, review it and see what you think about or meditate on these subjects. Peace and blessings, family. It's your brother Elisha, salt of the earth. May the Most High bless.